Okay, in this section 2-3, we're going to be looking at completing truth tables. Now, the purpose of a truth table is it lists out all the possibilities for two statements. Either they could both be true, the first one could be true, the second one could be false, the second one could be false, the first one could be true, or they could both be false. And the idea is to take each one of those scenarios and see what a compound statement would be. So in other words, we're going to fill in the parts to this truth table so that we can tell whether not P or not Q is true or false, depending on what the scenarios are that we start with. So when you're filling out a truth table, the first two columns are always going to start off the same way. It's all the possibilities in combinations for P and Q, right? And here's what they are. And so now I can take this information and fill out the next part of the truth table. So the next column is not P. Well, if P is true, true, false, false, then not P is going to be false, false, true, true. It's just the opposite. And likewise for not Q, if Q is true, false, then not Q is going to be false, true, false, true. Okay? And so now I can use these previous columns to fill out the last column, because look what I need in the last column. I need not P, which is here, or not Q, which is here. So now I've got to go back to that chart that we had from the last lesson. Remember, in an OR statement, right? In an OR statement, if any part of the OR statement is true, then the entire disjunction is true. And so false or false makes false. False or true makes true. True or false makes true. And both trues make true. And then so now we've completed our truth table. All right? So like I say, it's just taking the first two columns and using those to fill out the rest of the columns that follow. We're going to try several more of these so that you can kind of make sure you got the hang of it. So again, we've got P and Q, our two statements, and of course it's always going to start off the same way with all four possible combinations, right? And from there we can use that to fill out the rest of the table. Not P. Well, if P is true, true, false, false, then not P is going to be false, false, true, true. And so now the next column we have is not P and, so remember your logic symbols, this one is and Q. So not P and Q. So I'm using these two columns now to fill out the next column with and. Well, the only way an and statement can be true is if both parts are true, right? So true and false makes false. False and false makes false. True and true makes true. False and true makes false. So remember, the only way an and statement can be true is if both parts are true. So now we can fill in the last column. So let's take a look at what we've got here. We've got not, and then not P and Q. Now remember, look at the parentheses part of this. Remember, we already did the parentheses part in the previous column. So I already have these values. So really all I have to do is not this column and I'll have it. Because look, this entire thing we've already done right here. Okay? So remember, in a truth table you're going to use the previous columns to help you fill out the next column. That's the way it's designed. And so if not P and Q, this part is false, false, true, false, I just need to take the not of that or change it to true, true, false, true, and then we're done. All right? So remember, when you're filling out the truth tables, you use the previous column to help you fill out the next column. Okay, so here's the next truth table that I have right here that I'm going to be taking a look at. And so once again, the first two columns are the same as they typically normally would be. All right, they're filled out with all the possibilities for true and false. And so from here, We just have to use those columns to fill out the rest of it. And we can. Not Q, I'll take this and change it to false, true, false, true. That's my first step. Now I've got P and not Q. So not Q is here, P is here. So I'm using the first column and the third column with and to fill out the next one. All right, so remember, the only way an and statement can be true if both parts are true. So true and false makes false. True and true makes true. Remember, I'm using the first column and the third column. False and false makes false, and false and true makes false. All right, so I use column 1 and column 3 to fill out column 4. Look at the next one. Now here I've got Q or P and not Q. And when you first look at that, it looks kind of complicated, but remember, look at the P and not Q. We've already done that here. So I'm using this column. And the Q, of course, we have in the second column. So in this one, I'm going to use column 2 and column 4 to fill out column 5 with an or statement. So column 2 and column 4 with an or. Well, the only way that or can be false is if both parts are false. So true or false makes true. False or true makes true. True or false makes true. And false or false makes false. All right, and then we have finished that table. One more that I want to try. Again, we're starting out with all the combinations. Let's do not P, so that'll change to false, false, true, true. Let's do not Q, false, true, false, true. Now we've got not P, the third column, or Q, the second column. So I'm using column 2 and column 3 with or to fill out column 5. All right? So I'm using these two now. So remember, it's an or statement, so the only way that an or statement can be false is if both parts are false. So true or false makes true. False or true makes true. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I got my columns mixed up. It's false or false because I'm using column 2 and column 3. False or false makes false. True and true makes true. False or true makes true. So there's your fifth column now. And so make sure you keep which column straight you're using to fill in the next column. All right, so on the last one, we've got not Q and not P or Q. Well, remember, not P or Q we did here, and so not Q would be here. So I'm using column 4 and 5 to fill out column 6. Columns 4 and 5 to fill out column 6 with and. So the only way an and statement can be true is if both parts are true. So false and true makes false. True and false makes false. False and true makes false. And true makes true. All right, so the only one that would be true would be the last column there. All right? And so those are several examples of how to fill out truth tables, and that's what your quiz is going to be about. So now take what we've learned now in this lesson and use that when you are working on your quiz.